Today I'm on a fishery called Pantybedw, which is located near Nantgaredig, which is around 4 or 5 miles outside of Carmarthen in southwest Wales. It's a really nice lake. It's a mature lake, been in existence as a trout fishery for actually on and off for decades. Lovely place, quite a big lake. It's probably 4 or 5 acres, I'd guess, and fairly round, so it's pretty tough to reach some of the fish that do cruise out in the middle. It's mid-November. We've had a couple of cold nights over the last week or so, which has definitely kicked back the hatches and the surface action. It's worth bringing a couple of different outfits, or having a couple of different outfits set up at this time of year, just to ring the changes. If the fish are being lethargic and not really showing much interest towards the surface or on the naturals, it's worth having an intermediate or even a dye 3 or a dye 5. It really depends on the depth of the lake. Pantybedw is not particularly deep. It's probably maximum 8 foot, I would say. Most of the fishing will be over 4 to 6 foot, so it's a really nice depth for a lot of floating line action. But so actually I've got 2 set up. I've got one set up with an intermediate, and on that I'm going to fish a lure, and then I'm going to have a floating line set up as well, which would be fishing with, unless I'm seeing them on the surface, I'm going to be fishing with buzzers and dialbachs and small nymphs like the muskin, stuff like that basically. So it's really good to have both set up ready to ring the changes, and if one isn't working, swap out accordingly. On the lure front, if the fish are being lethargic, sometimes you need to get them to move to take the fly, and under those circumstances, sometimes bigger is definitely better. I've actually got a cutthroat cat snake set up at the moment. I'm actually fishing that again on an intermediate line, a really short leader, probably around 6 to 8 foot maximum, and pretty heavy nylon as well. Essentially, if they're going to intercept something this big, they're not really going to be leader shy. So I'm actually fishing 11 pound airflow G4 on that one, and then on the floating line I'm fishing a really long leader, probably around 18 foot or so, with a couple of nymphs, and that's on 6 pound airflow G3. I can also put a bung on this if need be, or fish it with a dry. For the on the lure front, ring the changes if they've stopped chasing the cutthroat cat, then you can drop onto like a black and green, or a more natural olive. And on the buzzer front, buzzers tend to be smaller in the winter. The hatching buzzers tend to be smaller, so don't be afraid of going down to 14s, even 16s in the winter, as opposed to the spring and summer buzzers, even the autumn buzzers, which tend to be bigger. Don't be afraid of going down smaller, and the water tends to be clearer in the winter as well. When you get the algae's died off, or the weed growth has died off, you tend to get much clearer water in the winter as well. So bear that in mind with your approach. Anyway, let's see if we can pull a few fish out.